All right, fifth grade, this is lesson 74, and today we are talking about measurement and unit of length. So if you look in your book on page 480, you have a chart at the top that talks about units of length. We've talked about those 12 inches equals 1 foot. Remember I said that there's 12 disciples and 1 Jesus. We said there's 3 feet in 1 yard. And that one we said that the Trinity has 3 parts and there's 1 God. So it's 3 parts, Father, Son, Holy Spirit, equals the Trinity. Then we had 5,280 feet equals 1 mile. And we said that there's 5 loaves of bread, 2 fish, everybody ate, and 0 went away hungry. So a way to remember that from the miracle of the fish. 1,760 yards equals 1 mile. Basically, we didn't have anything fun to come up with for that one, but if you happen to come up with something fun, let me know. Metric system on the right-hand side, nice with tens, hundreds, thousands, that type of thing for measurement. We have 10 millimeters equals 1 centimeter. We have 1,000 millimeters equal 1 meter. 100 centimeters equal 1 meter, and 1,000 meters equals 1 kilometer. Remember we talked about this with milli meaning 1,000, so there's 1,000 millimeters in the unit of a meter. We said that centa means 100, so there's 100 centimeters in a meter. And then with the kilometer means 1,000, so or 1/1,000. So we need 1,000 of those meters to equal that kilometer. Now I put up on the board here, as you can see, a kilometer is about 3/5 of a mile. Now what does that mean to us? Well, that means that a kilometer is about 3,000 feet, and a mile is actually 5,280 feet. So the mile is bigger than that kilometer. And when we look at it, we can kind of think of, okay, that's about 3,000 feet when I think of a kilometer. And that might help us to kind of understand a little bit better than thinking about a fraction of a mile. Now, when we look at how do we estimate things, estimate our lengths of units. What if we had something and we said, well, the basketball player is 196 centimeters, and we wanted to know about how many meters. If we wanted to know that, about how many meters, we would say, okay, I know that there is 100 centimeters in 1 meter. So what that means is that I'm real close to having 200 centimeters. So if I'm close to having 200 centimeters, that means that I would have 2 meters. So 200 centimeters is close to 196, which would make it close to 2 meters. So 196 would round to 200, and there's 200 centimeters and 2 meters. So about how many meters would that be? That would be 2 meters. Okay, so that's how we would use it when we're looking at that, on that type of thing. If we're rounding centimeters to meters, trying to go from centimeters to meters there. If we had how many inches something is from yards, well, let's look at that. So if I had 4 yards and I wanted to know how many inches that is, well, if I wanted to look at that, I would say, okay, how many inches are in 1 yard? That's the question we want to ask ourselves. Blank inches equals 1 yard. So if we look at our chart, we would see that it is 36 inches. So we'd say, okay, I have 36 inches in 1, but I have 4 of them here. And so I'm going to have to take those 36 inches and multiply it by 4. So 6 times 4 is 24, carry my 2. 4 times 3 is 12, plus 2 more is 14. So we'd actually have 144 inches if I wanted to know how many inches there are in 4 yards. And we could also break that down if we wanted to. We could go to feet and then inches, but this just cuts out that middle part, and we can say, okay, we'll just do 4 yards is the same as 144 inches, and just go from 36 inches to 1 yard, and that conversion that we can make. If we are looking at rounding, and we say that we have let's say we're going to do example 3 there in your book. It says a marathon is 26 miles and 389 or 85 yards. Okay, so we have 26 miles, 385 yards. He wants to finish it in 3 hours. Leon needs to run about how many miles each hour? So we're going to divide it into 3 sections. But this isn't a nice number to divide into 3 sections. So what I've decided to do instead is either round it to 27 or round it to 26. Which one do you think would be better if we're dividing it by 3? 26 divided by 3 or 27 divided by 3? Which gets us a nice number with no remainders? Remember our rules about divisibility of 3, we can remember that when we add the digits up, if our answer equals 3, 6, or 9, then there's no remainders. So 2 plus 7 is 9, so that means that I would divide it by 3 and have no remainders. 2 plus 6 is 8, so that wouldn't be a nice one. We definitely would have remainders there. So we're going to switch that 26 miles and 385 yards into 27. Now that we switched it into 27, we can divide it with no remainders. 27 divided by 3 equals 9. So he would have to run about 9 miles each hour in order to come up with the score to achieve his goal, or the timing to achieve his goal. So to review that, we took that 26 and changed there of yards, and we said, okay, we're going to change that into 27 because we have to divide it by 3 because he has 3 hours that he's running the race. And we said that's going to be better because there's no remainders with that. If I did 26, then I would have 8 with a remainder of 2, and that wouldn't be what I'm looking for. That would be not as nice and round for an estimated number. Estimated, we use those compatible numbers. And so that's a compatible number, and we get 9. Okay? What I have written there also deals with the next part of our opportunity to do mode, median, and range in using the data that we have here. Just kind of a review, but I want to review it with you because I know it's going to come up many times. So let's start to review it. So we have a line plot. This is what we call a line plot. We have information and we have a number line, and we plotted the information on the number line. So for this particular thing, the X indicates the vertical jump in inches. So this student jumped 10 inches. We had 1 student that jumped 12 inches. We have 2 students that jumped 13 inches. Every time you have a new student's data, you add a new X to the board. If it's 15, we had how many kids do 15? That's right, we had 4 students do 15. And so when we look at this, we want to use it in that way, that each X is a new student and each X indicates the jump that they did based on the numbers on the bottom. So if I want to find my range is the highest jump minus the lowest jump. Now, careful on this, because it doesn't mean the highest number and the lowest number, but where we have an x. So we have an x on 23 minus the x on 10, and that's going to give me 13 inches. So the range is 13. That means from the highest jump to my lowest jump, there's a 13-inch difference. Okay? Now when we look at our median is our middle number. And remember I said median is like small, medium, large. So median's in the middle. Or if you think of a traffic area, the median goes right between the traffic going one way and the traffic coming the other way. So median is that middle number. Well, how do we find that? Well, we're going to take and we're going to go in and kind of eliminate the outside. So we match up these two, then we match up these two, those 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 two, and I have this one in the middle. So that our middle number is 16. Sometimes I think it's easier when you have a line plot to write out the actual numbers. So to write out 10, 12, I have two 13s, so I'd write out two 13s. I'd have two 14s, so I write out two 14s. And go all the way down the line that way, and then start your, once you have them all written out, what do we have? Three 17s. Okay, and underneath here then we have two 18s, a 19, a 20, a 21, and a 23. Then it's easier to just go, okay, cross out each number back and forth. You just have to be consistent and do it the right way, otherwise you'll end up with the wrong number if you skip one and go back and forth, and we get to that 16. Okay, actually I should have had another 16 in there. So that's how we get that middle number, the median. So we found the median, we found the range. Now the only thing left they want us to find is the mode. The mode, like these two letters say, most often. Okay, that's how you can remember it's mode, most often seen number. So most often means it has the most x's. So if you look on your line plot, you can see the one with the most x's is 15. So 15 inches is the most often jumped number that we have there. So 15 inches would be the most jumped, the most often jumped. Okay, that's your lesson for today, and I hope you're having a good time learning some stuff, as well as taking this time off to not get sick.